From the very beginning of human history, religion was not merely a matter of worship, but the foundation of law, morality, social order, politics, agriculture, and even warfare. And yet, many belief systems that once shaped entire civilizations have today completely disappeared, surviving only through ruins, manuscripts, myths, and archaeological evidence. Among the earliest of these was the Sumerian religion, which emerged around 3500 BCE in Mesopotamia without a single founder, developing instead from collective human experience with nature, where rivers, storms, sky, earth, and fertility were all seen as living divine forces, and rituals such as animal sacrifice, offerings, temples, priesthoods, and sacred calendars became central practices that later flowed directly into the Babylonian religion and Assyrian traditions, where celestial bodies were believed to control destiny. Astrology and divination became formal sciences. Kings were granted divine authority, and the idea that the heavens guide human fate entered religious thought, a concept that echoes later in the notion of divine decree and cosmic order. Alongside this developed the ancient Egyptian religion, one of the longest-lasting religious systems in history, which centered on the divinity of the pharaoh, the journey of the soul after death, judgment in the afterlife, moral balance known as mayat, elaborate burial rituals, mummification, and sacred tombs, concepts that later resurfaced in transformed monotheistic forms as beliefs in the soul, resurrection, heaven, hell, accountability, and eternal reward or punishment. In ancient Iran before Zoroaster, the ancient Iranian religion emphasized nature worship, sacred fire, ritual purity, and the struggle between beneficial and harmful forces, laying the groundwork for ethical dualism, truth versus falsehood, and moral responsibility, ideas that deeply influenced later Iranian, Abrahamic, and philosophical traditions. From this same Iranian intellectual environment arose Manichaeism in the 3rd century CE, founded by the prophet Mani, who presented a universal religion blending elements of Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and Buddhism, teaching that the universe is a battleground between light and darkness, that the human soul belongs to the realm of light while the material body is part of darkness, and that salvation comes through knowledge, asceticism, fasting, moral discipline, and detachment from worldly desires, a faith that spread rapidly from Persia to Central Asia, China, and the Roman Empire, before being systematically suppressed by Zoroastrian, Christian, and later Islamic authorities, yet leaving a lasting legacy in concepts of inner spiritual struggle, renunciation, and the symbolic conflict between good and evil that reappear in later religious and mystical traditions. Meanwhile, in Europe, the Greek religion presented gods with human emotions, flaws, and virtues, weaving religion with mythology, philosophy, drama, and art, establishing temples, statues, festivals, and sacred games, practices that were inherited and formalized by the Roman religion, where religion became a state institution tied to imperial power, public rituals, emperor worship, and civic loyalty, systems that collapsed after Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Though the ideas of organized worship spaces, religious calendars, processions, and communal rites continued in new forms. In Northern Europe, the Norse religion revolved around warrior ethics, honor, sacrifice, fate, and the apocalyptic vision of Ragnarok, where courage and sacrifice were spiritual virtues, concepts that later re-emerged as moral struggle, endurance, and self-discipline within Christian and secular ethical systems. Across the Atlantic, the Mayan religion and Aztec religion were deeply tied to astronomy, agriculture, time cycles, and solar worship, where rituals, blood offerings, and even human sacrifice were believed necessary to sustain cosmic balance. Religions that ended violently with Spanish conquest and forced Christianization, yet whose seasonal ceremonies, harvest rituals, and Thanksgiving practices survive culturally across the Americas. In Arabia before Islam, pre-Islamic Arabian religion centered on tribal gods, sacred stones, idols, pilgrimage, inviolable months, and the Kaaba itself, many of whose ritual frameworks, such as pilgrimage, circumambulation, and sacred time, were preserved by Islam after being purified from polytheism and redirected towards strict monotheism. Taken together, these extinct religions reveal that while belief systems may disappear as formal faiths, their rituals, symbols, moral ideas, and social structures rarely vanish completely, instead being absorbed, reinterpreted, and transformed within newer religions, philosophies, and cultures, demonstrating that human religious thought is not a sequence of isolated revelations, but a continuous historical evolution in which every age inherits, reshapes, and redefines the